There's two reasons why you're listening to this today. One, you know me and support me. Two, you're a nosy old shy. Either way, I'm happy to have you. You're listening to the Unedited Podcast.
Do you think you can handle it? Do you think you could? Do you think you could handle it? Do you think you could?
I'll jump right into it, and I won't keep you long. We're approaching the busiest time of the year, which is why I felt that we all just needed to settle ourselves for a moment. This season can get tense. It can get stressful. You can find yourself being hard on yourself for any number of reasons. So I wanted to remind you to give yourself a bit of credit or a bit of praise. Something that doesn't always come naturally to any of us. Or if you do give it to yourself, you're looked at for being big-headed or crazy or whatever. But around this time of year, you can find yourself getting stressed out. Not meeting the commercial standards of what your home, your tree, what's under it should look like. And I think it's so important to just remember how far you've come. I've been thinking about praise a lot lately, thinking about how it promotes so much positive mentality, how it motivates people to do better. And I was thinking about it again this morning. I was driving to school. I was driving my daughter to school. And I just had a little thought to myself. And when I was driving on the way home, I wanted to record a video for her. I wanted to record a video for her that she could listen to when she was older. Not in a morbid way, you know, I plan and intend on still being here. But it was just something that I wanted her to have. I wanted her to know that there were certain qualities that I see in her that I know that she has. That I didn't want the voices in her head or from anybody else to ever suppress any of them things. We were driving to school. The weather was absolutely mental. It was windy, lashing rain. And I took her out of the car, I held her in my arms and we ran down to the school gates. Then she squeezes me tight and says to me, "I have you, ma'am," as if she was the one, you know, looking after me. And then we got to the school door. Now, she usually takes off. She doesn't look back. She's going in to have a ball with her friends. But this morning she did. She looked back and I could see that she had a little bit of worry in her face. She was looking at me saying, "I can't leave me ma out in what felt like to her this big blizzard." I had to reassure her and I said, "I'm okay, I'm going to be fine, I'll be out of the rain now in a minute and you go and have fun with your friends." But when I was driving home, I was thinking about her. And I wanted to tell her how wonderful, and how beautifully kind she is and how brave she was in that moment and how compassionate she is. And all of these things that if I was to tell her now, she wouldn't really quite understand them. You know, not to the point that she would when she was older. And they're things that one day she might forget to tell herself because of the ego or, you know, the ego, aka the voice in her head, or the voices of others. And I couldn't bear the thought of her ever not knowing how truly beautiful her spirit is. And I won't allow for her confidence, like the confidence that she has now as a small child, to be ever suppressed by anything, any voice in her head or any voice of any other person. Because that is what happens, and it happens to us all. It's happened to me, it's happened to people I love, it's happened to so many of us. I really do believe it happens to everyone. And I believe that we have the control to then pull it back. Like when you think about it, we start off this journey in life. Most of us, if you're blessed enough to be born into a loving home, if you're blessed enough to find the ability to walk, talk, eat solid food, etc. And when you do all of them things, like when you reach all of those milestones throughout your development, when you think about it, what did your parent do or your parent or guardian? Like what did they do when you learned how to walk? You go, yay! What did they do when you ate solid food? It's like, woohoo, well done. You are met with praise. You are given praise for your efforts. Praise that gave you confidence, that then gave you motivation, and it kept you going. You know, even as a tiny child, it made you feel good about yourself. That is continuously given to you throughout your childhood, your school years. You know, if you're blessed enough, it's given to you until your school years. And then boom. After that, you're met with pressure. What are you going to do with yourself? You need to get a job. What course are you going to do? Are you going to go to college, etc., etc.? Like, the parent then gets panicked, and that drive that they want, to see their child succeed or find a place in the world and be okay is met with so much worry and panic, which then can be projected onto you or onto us. And this, I feel, can set the tone. It can allow the ego, aka the voice in your head, to get more airtime. And you start to listen to it, and you tell yourself things like, I'm not good enough, I won't get the points, I don't have enough experience for that job, it goes on. So I then feel that you need to make yourself aware of this. It's the most vital ingredient is praise. So what do we need to do? We need to make ourselves aware of it. This is a vital ingredient, and it is praise. You're now older, and it's up to you to give it to yourself. Give yourself praise. And if you do give yourself praise, you'll more than likely be met with things like, she's full of herself, or she's a big head, or again, whether it comes from others or the ego, the key is to not take offence. Their words, don't take them personal. That they simply don't understand, and the ego and the voices of others simply, they want to protect you, and they want to save you from being let down or from letting yourself down. But that's not what I feel. I feel like, if you don't give yourself praise, if you do not give yourself a well done, you're letting yourself down. My findings are this: praise yourself. Absolutely praise yourself. Think of that baby. Think of that little kid. That little person went into the world, went into every single challenge, and was guided and positively promoted to celebrate their efforts, whether they were big or small, and be motivated not to give up. Why should you be any different in your adult life? You owe it to them. You owe it to the younger versions of yourself. You owe it to the younger generations watching and observing you to praise yourself. Say you get a promotion in your job, give yourself a well done. You got the washing done, fair play to you. Give yourself a well done. You got to the gym this week, you're delighted with yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back. Praise can come in all different forms. Just don't forget to reward yourself, because sometimes them tiny little things can take the greatest amount of effort. And if you put that effort into yourself, you deserve to be met with praise. Do not let yourself down. Give yourself a pat on the back. I guarantee you, if you're taking the time to listen to this podcast today, that you are somebody who believes in their self, or you're somebody who wants to better themselves, feel better about themselves. All I'm saying is what works for me, and I believe it will work for you, is if you take a moment, just a moment, to think of a younger version of yourself, and then think of you now standing here today, listening to this podcast, and look at the journey in between and the challenges that you've met and the things that you have overcome. Has that person come far? Give yourself a well done. Well done for listening. And thank you very much. I'll be here again next week, if you're nosy enough.
Do you think you can handle it? Do you think you could? Do you think you could handle it? Do you think